25 matchup between the 12th ranked Lewis University Flyers and the 9th ranked Stanford Cardinal to start the season. Nia Crittenden and Max Agres bringing the action courtside here on Big Ten Plus. Lewis University comes in this one 1-0 on a back half of a back-to-back, taking on Menlo College yesterday where they dominated in a 3-0 sweep. Last season the Flyers were 22-9. They finished 15th in the final AVCA rankings, led by head coach Dan Friend in his 21st season. Their hopes are sky high here for 2026. On the other side of the net, the Stanford Cardinal come in to start their 2026 campaign tonight. After a loss in the MPSF tournament semifinals from a year ago, the Cardinal finished 13-15 overall, ranked 12th in the final AVCA polls. The Cardinal returned nearly the whole entire roster while adding 4 freshmen to the ranks. And this is an experienced team led by John Costi in his 20th year at the helm for the Card.
Max, as you talked about Coach Costi, we got a chance to chat with him before the start of this match about the progress that he's seen in this team. As you mentioned, almost everyone returning. So you have a lot of experience coming back on the floor for this team. We talk about senior Teo Snui, him coming in an All-American honorable mention coming off of last season, along with Moses Wagner, all MPSF from last season as well. So a lot of experience back on the floor for the Cardinal.
Daniel Haber getting the first kill for Lewis, and they'll take the 1-0 lead. There's a lot of experience, a lot of talent here on this side of the net for Stanford, and it's going to be interesting how they sprinkle in some of the young talent coming into the night as well.
Max, you saw the match that Lewis had last night. Talk a little bit about that and what we're expecting to see today from them. Yeah,
Lewis came out and they had a really gritty matchup. The numbers show something a little different than what Coach Costi was talking about. They came out, they hit 309 at the end of the match, but in those last 2 sets, they won 3-0, but it was 25-23, 25-23, so they really had to fight all the way down to the wire to get that victory over Menlo.
We're seeing some of those changes already. We saw that triple block on Snui there as he went up to attack. So knowing that in front of them, the Cardinal have a huge block at the net.
And Carrera out to the service line for the first serve of the night in the match for the Cardinal. Carrera, 5 service aces a season ago. Talked about it with Coach Costi early on as you get a kill on the right side by Haber there, feeding Haber early on. But something interesting is going to be the aggressive serving of the Cardinal and specifically targeting the outsides rather than going to the libero.
Yes, definitely targeting the outsides, really trying to keep this team off of the net. That's what Coach Costi talked about before they started. They have a lot of size, 6'7", 6'8", coming at you. So trying to figure out a better way to play defense on their side.
36 aces on the year for Haber, the most dangerous server on the team as he throws that ball high in the air and gets that one started on an aggressive hit. Off speed on the attack there for Snui. Left side, Todorov. Back row attack, a big swing by Clinton. Todorov kept that one in play. Man, that was all the way down, barely touching the tape.
That swing high and over the block there. You have 6'3" Briette blocking, so something that they're going to try to take advantage of when they can. And you can see that where that ball landed right in that seam at the back line.
It's going to be really interesting to see the difference in pace today. Obviously, Stanford a little smaller in stature on cross with their construction of the roster, so expect to see them use those back row attacks and really mess around with the tempo.
Definitely pushing speed for this team. They want to beat this block that's in front of them. As we see Wagner come in, and again, that set from Briette. Great tempo, great timing, leading him, and he just goes in and gets it, able to beat the block and find space cross court.
Wagner, one of the most dangerous servers as well. He was second on the team in aces and digs, so he can get it done offensively as well as defensively. A two-way player for sure. Out to the service line is Briette, the senior out of San Jose. And the aggressive serve into the back line over to Paula. Miscommunication here, turned into a free ball.
That ball bouncing off of the ceiling, throwing off the offense for Lewis.
And a really strong job on the right side by Ozan Ohus, the senior out of Turkey, pushing that right past the double block.
At 6'8", he went up and really went after that joust at the net. And he is a weapon for Lewis, someone that the Cardinal are really trying to slow down today.
Coming off a 14-kill performance against Menlo, His story is absolutely insane. Started out at the NAIA level, won almost every single award you could ever ask for. Transferred to Hawaii, had a little slow start to his career there. He was a rotational player, and then last year over at Lewis, just coming out and leading this Flyers offense. He'll get another swing from the right-hand side, touching off the block, and another kill.
Huge effort there on the Cardinal block, trying to get a hand. He just hits over them. We talked a little bit about the difference in how they're running their offense. You're going to see a lot higher sets, a little slower tempo from Lewis because you have these guys that have a lot of size that really can elevate and get above the block.
Sean Baggs Jr. back to start us off again. This one returned by Stanford a little flat. Left side with the tack once again, and the triple block can't stop Moses Wagner.
Snooey with the out-of-system set pushes Wagner a little tight to the net, but it doesn't matter for him. He goes up and takes that ball straight over the block. Really, really impressive swing from Wagner.
And the most aggressive server for the card comes to the back line in Snooey. Super high with that throw, and he forces an ace right away.
And for the senior, 33 aces, leads the team in aces last season. Led the team in aces last season, I should say, coming in. So already starting off strong for the Cardinal. Part
of the U.S. U23 national team. A lot of talent on display as he goes back-to-back aces to get this one started.
I know that is something that Coach Costi worked on with this team a lot last season, was really, as we talked about in the beginning, making sure that you're serving the outsides, trying to get them out of system, but also trying to push points with your serve. Your serve can be a weapon, and we're seeing that here.
And we're also seeing the other side of the coin. 99 service errors to the 33 service aces. So you got 2-1 to start your first match of the season. You got to be feeling pretty good about that one. 5-6 the current score with the visitors in the Flyers. Coming out and getting the advantage early. Ozan Ohus to the back line now. And these jump serves are just coming at you like a rocket.
We see that pass from Kai Schmidt there, handles the ball. We're going to see some movement in the libero spot. Evan Porter led the team last season, was their starting libero for majority of the season. We saw a little bit of Kai Schmidt, and Coach Costi talked about that, talked about the movement and differences we'll see really almost match to match here.
Yeah, really just so comfortable with this roster early on, rotating folks in and out. Mandelbaum got us started there. A great dig in the back row. Out of system momentarily. And the back row attack goes wide, not touched by any hands. An attacking error there by Haber.
That dig from Snooey, that is having your team's back. Got a little jumbled on the block there. He had a lot of space on that swing, but still not being afraid, keeping your platform there to even get that ball up. Really impressive play from the Cardinal.
Mandelbaum, the middle blocker, back to that line again. A little awkward with the set there, but it works out perfectly. Diego Estrada just squatted down all the way low and just somehow sent that one up in perfection.
So both of these teams challenging each other, very athletic, and we're seeing that in a lot of these scrappy plays.
Dejan Todorov, this junior out of Sofia, Bulgaria, has past professional experience and now bringing it to the hardwood floor as a quick attack right down the middle, and it's Carrera getting the point. 8-7, Stanford gets the advantage.
Last season we watched Carrera's development on the floor. We talked also about the difference in the movement of middle blockers. I remember last season they started with Gray Mandelbaum starting and Kamana Carrera starting. We're seeing that again tonight.
Wagner got us started there. And a big swing on the right side by Ohus, sent away on the right.
Those are one of those mistakes on the blocking that you will accept. He got there, he closed, really trying to get over as fast as he can, but that's just a really great swing from Lewis.
And that's what you expect out of two top 15 teams. Lewis ranked number 12, Stanford ranked number 9. And we are getting a scrappy matchup here early on, 8-8. Flying dig in the back row. They'll go to left side off the block. That was the swing by Clinton. Going back over to Clinton. Showing the feint, and then Clinton just throwing the exclamation mark on it.
Another great play from the Cardinal and Clinton. Sometimes you have to use the block, and that was the way to do it. He attacks it, but that ball is high enough to be recovered, and they get the ball back to him. Then he finds space in the seam on the block to score a point.
Nate Clinton to the back line now. The Aggressive jump serve. This one returned by Haber. Setting left side, quickly blocked. Right side to Ohus. Overpass there. Back row tip. Nearly a slam dunk by Carrera. Instead, Ohus stabbed with one hand. Left side out of system. Tipped up in the air. Great communication there as Snooey pushes it over. Left side attack. Pairing up the block to perfection. Great job there by Daniel Haber.
Using that outside hand of Briette to score that point. A really smart play, but so impressive from the Cardinal. That back row defense was so good for them. We're seeing that so far. Very consistent over the last few points and really doing a good job on Ohus, someone that we know can get up and really hammer that ball down. They're staying in good spots to be able to dig.
And there were 2 overpasses there as it's a service error on the other side of the net for Lewis. But more than anything, it's the communication early on that is so impressive. Being able to say, hey, no, it's you, instead of kind of panicking and really feeling the early jitters. We got a pretty packed house here in Burnham Pavilion, and the fans are coming out and supporting their team, and you can feel that energy carrying onto the court a little bit as well. Carrera with the serve, and a quick attack on that right-hand side.
Briette getting a kill as the Cardinal setter. Really going up and attacking that overpass. A smart play and a way to get a quick point back to your team.
Briette had 61 total swings last year, hitting 262. When he has an opportunity, he can show the opportunity to get to the floor as well. Setting to the right side, and this time awkward off the hand of Daniel Haber. They've been feeding Haber quite a lot to start this one.
He's also been taking really good swings, too, off the hands. Not someone that's going to go up like Ohus, for example, and really trying to hit that ball high and hit that ball hard, but really finding areas that he can score off of the hands and playing into the block a lot here.
3 kills, 2 errors on 6 swings for Haber to start. 12-9 the score with the Cardinal leading. Going straight with the middle attack. Sean Braggs Jr., the middle blocker out of Gilbert, Arizona, getting it done. And this is the spot in the lineup where Lewis feels pretty comfortable. With Sean Braggs Jr. in the middle, he was the leading blocker last year with 91. When you have him in the middle, you feel pretty comfortable about the way that your defense will execute. Daniel Haber to the back line once more. And a service error, man. You can tell the velocity of these serves as it hits the middle of the net, just seeing the wiggle on the antennas.
And also with the jump serves, as you mentioned earlier, there is often a high error rate when you are really trying to go for it. A lot of that is timing.
And Briette into the back line now, so you'll have 3 attackers right up front for the Cardinal. Briette with a massive serve. Left side on the attack, off the dome piece, couldn't quite get it up. Terrific job there by Turdorov.
A huge swing there. The Cardinal trying to make something happen. Wagner tried to get in and get a hand in that ball, maybe a pancake, but unsuccessful for the Cardinal.
And a substitution in the front line as Tyler Walega will check in, the outside hitter out of Illinois. A lot of this roster constructed all across Illinois as Lewis University coming out of Romeoville, Illinois.
Quite a few service errors here we're seeing in the last few points. So losing a little bit of momentum on both sides.
And Nia, how much does fatigue start to factor in when you get later into the match? Obviously, it's still the first set, but a lot of these explosive actions got to tire you out pretty quickly.
Especially with a lot of these really, really tough top spin jump serves. That is a lot of extra energy that you are exerting, but it's something that you work on and you prepare yourselves for these moments so that you can keep putting pressure on the other team's serve receive.
Sanui got us started in the attack all the way past the line, and it's an attacking error there for Ozan Owus.
Yeah, so they are calling for a touch on that last play, but that point will go to the Cardinal.
And 18-11 as the Cardinal come out. Snooey into the back line. And the Cardinal have gone on a little run after falling behind early. And it's been partially because of the serving of Snooey. Snooey on the back row attack. And a violation on the Cardinal will give the point right back over to Lewis. But I think the pressure being created by the serves of the Cardinal are really assisting in their ability to take this 3-point lead early.
Definitely, and that is something that the Cardinal want to go for, as Coach Costi talked about in the beginning, really trying to put the pressure on them, get them out of system, And sometimes you are going to miss when trying to go for that.
O's got to start in. And an answer on the right side goes wide. The attack there by Moses Wagner.
Wagner slowed down just a little bit on the approach, taking that swing. You kind of saw that slight hesitation there as he went up to try to find space. So just missing wide on that last play.
One of the better performers last season, 7 in kills in the MPSF. And that serve could not quite get over the top. The ricochet off the net almost pushed it over, and I think a little too much English, sending it in the backside way.
Hey, Briette was ready. He ran under, and he would have tried to take that ball if it came over.
You know, if you stay prepared, you don't got to get prepared, right?
That's always one of those that we would get in trouble when I was still playing volleyball. If you do not get a ball that hits the tape, sometimes you can't control it if it lands in a really tough spot. But if you can get there, try to at least get a hand on that ball. Those are always tough ones.
And Luke Morrison with the let serve, the freshman getting his first action here in his Cardinal career. Unfortunate for him, it's a point for the Flyers. Morrison, the freshman out of Irvine, California, a league MVP and a 3-time league champion as well. It's going to be interesting if he gets opportunities to stay on the floor, however. He is a lefty opposite, so that would definitely bring a different looking attack for the Cardinal. On the other side of the net, Dejan Todorov. Attack from the middle there by Carrera. Going to the left side. From his knees, the overpass. And Stanford keeping this one in play on the complete other side of the net. Unfortunately, not really able to get it over, but a very heads-up play. Seeing the opportunity, the awkward angle there, and Moses Wagner showing off his IQ as a senior.
Wagner getting under the net, but staying outside of the court to be able to make that play possible. That was a tough one to try to get, but impressive that he was even able to get his hand on the ball there.
Absolutely. Even giving yourself a chance was pretty nuts in that situation. 16-15. Lewis trying to drive back into this one.
Perfect pass there
and
from
a big
Sui.
Attack there. Forces the overpass. Right side, great dig there by Schmidt. And directly into the block, sent away. Wagner just being sent down. 16-16.
That block from middle blocker, Krugerbeer at 6'9". You see him come in and just absolutely clamp on Wagner on that last play. Great read from the middle blocker.
Second team All-MIVA selection from a season ago. He's been doing well since high school, got an All-State and an All-Conference honor under his belt. Diving dig turns into an overpass. Going on 2. Really smart. After the timeout taken from Stanford, it was a 4-0 run from Lewis that gives them the advantage, 17-16, and also forces the timeout there. Lewis, after a very strong first opening set against Menlo where they took it 25-15, went 25-23, 25-23. So this is the team that's seen the ability to kind of steamroll a team and then also has had a little bit of grit early on. The attack on the left side, it looks like it went off the intent, and it did. The attacking error there by Nate Clinton.
We talked with Coach Costi about this at the start of this match, right before they got going, and knowing that Lewis is coming in with, match under their belt, having been able to shake off some of the rust of the start of the season. And as he said for the Cardinal, they're coming in a little bit green, as he called it. So we're going to see some moments. We're going to see some errors as they start to shake that off and find their rhythm again. But this is a team that has played together now for many years, and we're seeing them come back into their space where they're playing comfortable. But it still is the very first match for the Cardinal this season.
Moses Wagner with a great angle, able to get the kill. He'll go to the back line to start. And going back to your point, 10 upperclassmen on this roster, 6 juniors, 4 seniors, and you got players that have had a year under the belt with 6 sophomores and then those 4 freshmen coming in. Left to right over the net, this one a joust. And they'll set left side. The attack through the triple block for Clinton. Going on 2, and another heads-up play. This time, Daniel Haber, the outside hitter, goes up.
Haber has done really well. I know I talked about it earlier. When he goes up, he really finds a way to score off of the hands, and he has been doing that successfully so far throughout the start of this match.
Cole Switzer comes into the middle. The redshirt junior, to the outside as the redshirt junior out of Wisconsin gets some of his first playing time here. 9 service aces for Cole last season. He'll take a deep breath as he gets started right here. Going to the back row once more. The high-flying Moses Wagner. Textbook, like you said.
Textbook play there from the Cardinal. That was a great pass. And Snooey's been doing a great job handling these serves from Lewis in the back row and in the back court. But a great pass there to Briette. That ball straight to Wagner.
Snooey just filling up nearly every single category for the Cardinal from a year ago. Led them in kills, total attacks, aces, and also getting it done on the defensive side. Left right over the net. This one's still in play. Out of system, turns into an overpass here. Stanford block was there. They go twice, and the push turns into a violation against the Flyers. 19-0.
Haber trying one of his plays. You see him chuckling there on the court. He tried to do something there. As I said, he plays a lot in the hands, has a lot of trick moments, and really is frustrating for the block on the other side, but not successful on that one.
Yeah, the agility to get up and down so quickly. Just showing the athleticism on display for both sides there. Clinton, high jump serve, attacking that right side, and Haber. Out of the back row, big swing and an answer there for Nate Clinton.
It's one of the fun things I find that I get to see in men's volleyball are those quick, just really two-touch plays that you often see. They did it to them before a few points ago, so the Cardinals said, hey, it's our turn to do it back, and Nate Clinton with a huge swing and a kill.
And we'll keep it here for the timeout taken by Lewis as Stanford takes the 20-19 point advantage. And this one has been back and forth. You expect to see it out of two teams that are right near that top 10 category. Lewis ranked 12th, Stanford ranked 9th. But it's interesting to see just how the Cardinal is starting to really find their groove a little later into this first set, because obviously Lewis has that one game under their belt already.
And we saw that with the Cardinal last year. There were so many things that they were working through, so many changes. But even from the end of last season to now, seeing this first match, and we're only a few points in, we're only toward the end of this first set, I'm already seeing a lot of changes with this team, a lot of confidence. That was something that Coach Costi talked a lot about last season, was figuring out who are the leaders on the floor, figuring out who's ready to step up. And there were those moments where they had some changes each match, maybe some injuries here and there. Nate Clinton had some moments where he had to sit out. His body just wasn't agreeing with him at some points throughout the season. But now I'm seeing a lot more confidence with those changes. And you talked about earlier, a few different rotations, having Kai Schmidt come in to as the starting libero when we usually see Evan Porter in that spot. And they're all so supportive, and everyone all the time is ready to go in at any moment.
Communication has been on full display early on, and as you have some of these players going into their upperclassmen year, junior and senior, it just gives you the ability to really understand how your body is developing over time and how you can train in the offseason to really prevail throughout the rest of the season. The fact that you have nearly everybody, all but one player, coming back this season really just says a lot about how this team is constructed and how they'll be able to get over that slightly green feeling early on. Great job there. Returning, but it'll turn into a free ball for Stanford. Great swing on the right side, but Wagner was right there. Out of system, has to do the pirouette to send it over the net. That was Carrera. And now on the other side, the middle answers Sean Baggs Jr.
That ball just pushed straight down, a little off tempo. You could see it through Wagner off on the defense there. Standing up a little bit back on his heels, not ready for that play, but a tough one from Lewis.
Cameron Hoying, the redshirt sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio, goes to the back line, had 9 aces a year ago. One of the many members on this roster, part of the Volleyball Mag Fab 15 selection from a year ago. And it's interesting to just see the talent all across the board. Obviously, you have two teams that are inside of the top 15. 10 players on Lewis, part of that Volleyball Mag Fab 50. And on the other side of the net for Stanford, 7 of them, a selection back there in high school. Just showing off their prowess and their ability back in their high school days.
So we'll see Carson Kneisel come in to serve.
And the attack goes off the antenna this time around for Ozan Ohus. Started out really hot, but the last few swings have just felt a little off for Ohus.
Ohus seemingly struggling to find space on the floor. We saw it, as you said, in those first few points, but
no, you're absolutely
a little bit out of rhythm.
It's out of rhythm, and also the fact the Stanford defense has that one thrown down. Ray Mendelbaum just with the slam dunk there, 23-20. And that's going to be another timeout, the second taken by Lewis. We'll keep it here once again. But I think one of the differences that we're seeing here is Ohus the last few swings has been pushed really far and tight into the antenna area, which has forced him to kind of go a little off with his angles. And I think that's just an adjustment of the Cardinal and where they're putting that ball and forcing just awkward opportunities and awkward sets from Lewis.
Well, it speaks to the power of the defense. When you're playing defense the way that the Cardinal have been, where they're filling in those seams, and with someone like Ohus, who's 6'8", has so much power, to see the defense on the other side not taking steps further back, not being afraid to dig a ball from him with no block in front of them, you can see the hesitation when he goes up to swing, where that same power and that same confidence we were seeing in the early part of the set has gone away a little bit. He's second-guessing a little bit where he wants to swing, and that's something that's been very effective for the Cardinal defense.
And that's where you want to be as you force a 3-0 run and possibly are on your way to get your first set win of the season. Nice house here. I'd probably say it's about 70%, 80% here. But honestly, on a football playoff weekend, to get this many Cardinal in here in the gym cheering on your team, that's got to feel like a win.
Well, people love volleyball, and being able to start off the season strong has been exciting. And as we talked about, last season for this team, they had a ton of talent, obviously, that came back. And so you have a lot of fans here that are used to seeing these players and now get to see them progress. And as you mentioned, so many upperclassmen now that have been here for 4 years.
Yeah, you just have the support of the community as Kneisel sends another great serve over. Nearly missing on the swing was Mendelbaum, just having to push that one over was Snooey.
Kneisel with a great serve, having to come in and pass the overpass from his own service on the team. But a tough play there for the Cardinal, and a great play from Lewis taking advantage.
And that's huge, especially taking your final timeout of the first set. You have to get the point in that situation to keep it out of set point territory, and that's exactly what Lewis does as they continue to fight. Daniel Haber has been very effective from the service line to get us started. That last 5-0 run from Lewis was off of the service of Haber. Haber dug this time by Schmidt. Awkward on the swing nearly, but Snooey able to get the point. 24-21 at set point.
Snooey, that was a great adjustment to a ball that he came up and saw that he had a big block in front of him, but that there was a seam, and I know he wanted to take a strong swing cross court on that, but that was taken away. So using court vision and seeing that he has space between them, taking advantage.
Briette to the back line. Sending over the net, returned by Paula. Ohus with the big answer.
As we just talked about Ohus and the swings that we weren't seeing, he comes back with an answer, not wanting to let the Cardinal walk away with this first set.
And a better set, just giving him space and not pushing him towards that pin. Sean Baggs Jr., Stanford, it's still set point, 24-22. Off the net, clean opportunity, setting the right side. Away in the block, Snooey sent away. And the Flyers are flying as they try to keep in this one.
Lewis is not trying to let them walk away with this set. They're coming back and pushing 23-24 now as the Cardinal will call a timeout.
It's a great timeout in this situation. Lewis got the answer after their timeout, give you an opportunity to scheme something up, change your rotations, maybe send a few better receiving options in that back line as you try to close this one out.
Really interesting to look at, too, the difference in even the hitting percentages for this matchup, even with the Cardinal leading through most of this set here at 23-24. The Cardinal hitting 200 so far on the match, and Lewis hitting 316.
Yeah, absolutely. It's felt like a big ebb and flow, and I guess those numbers really do reflect it. Both sides have had their runs. Stanford seemed like they were a little sketchy early on as Lewis got the advantage, and they settled down and started to rise that percentage higher up. But
for Lewis, one thing to note, not too many errors on the attack, and actually for both, only 5 apiece. So something really interesting that we've seen. It shows also that both teams are playing a really great defense, and they're both digging a lot of the attacks coming from each side.
Especially in men's volleyball, a lot of times you'll see set, kill, point right away. We've seen some great rallies early on.
That is a great point. Yes, usually it is pretty fast. There's mostly, you see a lot of terminating in a lot of plays, but both teams doing a really great job, and that's just getting touches on the block, slowing that ball down, knowing that they have multiple players on each side of the net that are really, really powerful in their attack.
And it's been the service has just been forcing the defense to shift in certain directions. As we see Baggs Jr. once again, it's still set point for the Cardinal as it's 24-23. Push over the net. Lewis able to tie things up. All timeouts have been used, and the miscommunication there. Moses Wagner wasn't quite able to get that one in play, and they push it. We're getting extra points here to start, 24 apiece. Winner needs to win by 2.
Such a tough play. That ball coming off of the block and landing right between them, thinking it was going to land outside of the court.
Stanford needing a point back. Going straight back over to Moses Wagner to get it. 25-24, back over to set point for the Card.
That's that confidence and trust you could see when Briette ran over to the middle of the court to have to take that set, knowing he was going to go to Wagner. Wagner going up to terminate that ball.
Sinui coming back. He had 2 aces to start his service of the 2026 season. Can he get another in this situation to send us past the first?
So redshirt junior Alex Rotman subbed in for the Cardinal while they have set point here. So the 6'6" outside hitter in the front row now.
So the senior out of Berkeley, California, a product out of Head Royce School, getting applause from his home fans here in Burnham Pavilion. Aggressive serve. Left side off the block. This one stays on the Lewis side of the net. Setting left. Off the hands of the libero, and it's 25-all.
That block just taken slightly outside of where they wanted to be there, finding space to hit cross court. But Wagner needed to just take one more step inside there on the block.
Oh, who's serving now? Getting a little applause from his bench. Diving all the way down to keep this one in play. They'll have to go out of system, just pushing that ball over the net. Oh, back row attack. Sent over on the overpass. Going to the middle, and the answer by Krugerbeer.
Both middle blockers for Lewis have done really well with that so far in this match. We've seen them take a couple of swings, but we've seen a lot of really just push tips essentially around the block of the Cardinal.
Oh, who's to the back line trying to send this one away. First set point here in the opening set for Lewis. And a service error will make it 26-all. We go back and forth as the tug-of-war continues.
You see that frustration from Ohus. It's always the tough moment. You never want to miss the serve when you have the advantage and the set point, but we know that it happens, whether it's going for it, whether it's nerves. So that ball will now go back. We'll have Gray Mandelbaum serving.
Mandelbaum initiates. They go left side, hiding behind his setter. That was a great job there by Todorov, who's really started to become the focal point of this offense. You started out early on going to Haber, then you found Ohus, but it's Todorov that's really just started to collect points when you need them the most.
Both teams right now battling it out as it's 27-26 for Lewis.
Lewis trying to see if second time is the charm here. Todorov dug up there by Schmidt. Retreating all the way to the left-hand side and an out-of-system attack by the Cardinal in the back line. Back row attack there. Great dig by Briette. Answer off the block. Alex Rotman, the redshirt junior, after sitting out last year, comes up in a massive moment to tie things up, 27-all.
What a swing for Rotman. They're going up and attacking into the block, knowing that he had a huge block in front of him. And as you just mentioned, someone coming in at the very end of this set, sitting a little bit cold throughout this set so far, but coming in and making something happen.
Back row attack there. And another answer for Ohus.
Tough one there. You see the frustration on Snooey. He's been in a great spot so far throughout this matchup every time Ohus has gone up to hit the ball, but that one goes off of the hands a little bit, so a little tough one to dig.
Frederick Krugerbeer had a massive moment to tie this one up. Now goes to the back line, the 6'9" redshirt sophomore out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's serve. Dug up by the Card. They'll push left side once again, and it's Rotman with back-to-back answers for the Cardinal.
So two great swings there for Rotman as he subs out, and Nate Clinton is back in to serve.
Nate Clinton coming in, the 6'4" junior out of Pleasanton. Third on the team in kills this season ago. We talked about that Volleyball Mag Fab 50. He was one of those members for Stanford as we clean up the floor momentarily. And coming into this situation, you just got yourself a breather. Time to use all that energy up and try to pin 2 straight points and take this one away. 28-28 as number 28 goes back to serve. And a big attack, great placement on that ball by Daniel Haber.
For Lewis, being able to hold the middle block and Kamana Carrera there, that's just a tough play and something that is frustrating when you thought you were going up. They did a great job with faking out, almost setting the middle, but pushing that tempo set to the outside. They go up and take a swing with no block in front of them.
Diego Estrada to initiate. This one a let serve, and it's a flat ball that goes all the way down. A service ace for the junior setter, and the first set of the evening will go to Lewis by a score of 30-28.
Just a tough ending there for the Cardinal. They really had the advantage early on before it got close, especially when they were at 20-21. And you know, for them, having that ending with 2 mistakes there is difficult, but it was something that was expected with this team. We talked about the difference with Lewis and having been able to come off of already playing a match, and for this to be the Cardinals' very first match of the season. So shaking off the rust a little bit, as I talked about. We'll see what they come back with in the second set.
Lewis with the 1-0 advantage as the number 12 team has the lead. The Flyers take the first set. They go to 4-0 in that category on this season as they got the victory over Menlo College 25-15, 25-23, 25-23. It's been hard-fought sets all the way through since that second opportunity switched the sides of the net as the Cardinal will send their team out to the left-hand side. And that first set, Lewis doing a terrific job offensively, hitting 370 on 46 swings with 22 kills. The Cardinal came out, they had some hiccups here and there, but they still finished at 229, 14 kills on 35 total attacks. Flyers finished their season a year ago, 22-9, 11-5 in MIVA play. And they lost to Loyola Chicago in the semifinals of their conference tournament. Looking to come back and show off the talent that they've got on display. Traveling cross-country from the Midwest over to California and looking to get 2 consecutive victories as they are on the back half of a back-to-back. Nia Crittenden, Max Agrest bring you the action here. Lewis will send out Daniel Haber to get this rotation started for the Flyers.
Haber successful last set. Lots of plays at the net. He's taking advantage of the block in front of him, and now he'll go back to try to start off with a strong serve.
This one is returned, an attack from the middle there by Carrera. Right side, directly into the block. That was a big swing by Ohus. They'll feed Ohus once again. That one sent to the net, push through. The power of the man from Turkey, able to get the first point there.
6 kills for Ohus now. That was a tough play there, really just able to overpower at the net. But as I said before, the Cardinal doing a really good job handling a lot of the swings that he has been giving to them.
The 2-time Turkish Super League champion has been a big part offensively as expected. And this time the block sent into the net.
And you'll notice, Lewis, a lot of triple blocks on this Cardinal team. Something that's very interesting seeing them come all the way in. So he's still able to find space between the block there to score.
Yeah, especially as you on paper have a larger team with Lewis. Carrera got us started there on the serve. Off speed, worked to perfection. Great job there by Dejan Todorov.
And speaking of, we talked about size on the floor. Todorov at 6'5" is one of their undersized pin hitters, but still at 6'5". But when you have 6'7" and 6'8" next to you consistently with all of the middle blockers, your other outside hitter, and Ohus on the right side.
And then, you just somehow have a 7'2" freshman middle blocker on your bench as well if you need a little more size. Great attack in the middle there, just oddly handled, but Mendelbaum able to get the kill. Throwing
that ball right into the lap of Estrada. He tries to keep that ball in play, but it's tough. Those off-speed push tips from the middles, man, they're so tough. They're really, really tough to defend because you're expecting a big swing and an in-tempo swing.
And a big serve there, dug up into the back row. They'll go back over to Ohus. Past the triple block. Wasn't able to retrieve the ball. Was Kai Schmidt on the ricochet. And it's 3-2.
So who's already starting off pushing points early here in this second set.
And just better looks. Yeah, better looks as well for Ohus. Before he was being pushed a little too far into the pin, but I mean just better returns, and the Flyers defense is really starting to find themselves. Quick attack there, and they answer for the card.
So calling touch on that play, and they confirm there was a touch from that ball from Mandelbaum. But yeah, as we talked with Coach Costi at the beginning too, since you mentioned Ohus and his attack, wanting to keep him off the net. That's exactly what the Cardinals wanted from the last set.
Cardinal serve goes into the net. Snooey, just so aggressive. Sometimes it goes over for an ace, and that time the second service error of the night. So he's 2 for 2, or 2 aces to 2 errors. Todorov out of Sofia, Bulgaria, with the service error of his own, trading them. Looks like there might be a review here, and nope. Just saying, hey, moving with the rotation.
Speaking of service errors, the Cardinal, really only 2 service errors from the last set, but 7 already for Lewis. So get a big difference there between both squads.
The triple block is strong, sent away. Daniel Haber.
Huge block there, and great communication from the Cardinal to come in for that. We've seen with Haber, as I said earlier, he likes to play into the hands, but that one he actually took a swing. But the Cardinal were ready for that.
Mandelbaum continuing this run for the Card. Back row attack for Ohus!
Looking for that ball to be out.
And it does go out right there. Had to refer to the official on the floor, but it will be 5-5 Lewis as they get their answer.
That one was close. We're seeing for the Cardinal making some of those adjustments on the block here. And still, one of those two where still a pretty good block considering.
I just can't imagine the pain that you feel on your forearms going up for that block. The ball is not like the women's ball. That thing is a piece of rubber that will rip some skin off, especially with the velocity that these hits come off.
You know, during the off season when I was still playing professionally, I would actually sometimes come here to Stanford and I would practice with a couple of the guys that were on Stanford squad from quite a few years ago. And it would just be a mix of a couple of pro players with some of us and some of the guys who are coming back from college or just finished here at Stanford. But going up to block a men's volleyball player is not for the weak.
Oh, absolutely not. I know you got a ton of size and power under your own regard playing opposite, but just the difference in the way that they attack, the angles that you go at, the height of the net, the difference between the women's game and the men's game. And then finally, like I talked about before, that men's ball is not for the faint of heart. I've been hit a few times when I was doing PA in the past year, and man, it hurts a lot more than the women's ball.
It does, and we would sometimes joke about that when playing, especially if we're playing with mixed teams on the floor, and it's like, hey, don't hold anything back. Hit as hard as you can.
And not holding back on the swing from the back row attack, but the block from the Flyers strong as they take the 7-6 advantage. That's one thing I've been noticing as well in the men's game. You see a lot more of those back row attacks.
A lot of back row attacks here trying to mix it up, and it's something that we've seen and that I've seen through the last season in that connection with Briette and Snooey.
Diego Estrada will send that one to the net as it's back to 7-7. It's been so tightly contested. Estrada, especially the last time he was at that service line, got that let serve that eventually turned into the win in the first set.
But even for Lewis, a lot of these missed serves, it really is at some moments killing the momentum. Obviously still successful in that first set, but a lot of missed opportunities here for them to really keep that momentum up and keep driving this match forward on their side.
Nate Clinton on that drop serve. Back row attack, and it goes wide. Moses Wagner unable to calibrate. Yeah, I think consistency is what you're really looking for. Obviously, you want to be so aggressive, especially with the power that all these players have. But at the same time, sometimes you just got to get back into your flow, get back into your rhythm. Sometimes placement over power is the key. Daniel Haber putting a ton of power as it's returned by Snooey. Right side going to the back row once again. This one nearly up into the second row with us. A big attack from Moses Wagner.
That ball flying off of really the arm of Todorov there as he goes up for that block. Went a little bit inside there, getting lined up on Wagner as he went to attack that ball.
Carrera serving. A little softer loft over the top. Set into the back row. Great dig there, but it's sent over the net on the overpass. Another attack, a one-handed dig. Near the stands, pushes it over. And it's a back-to-back overpass for the Cardinal. This time set right in front of the net. The push over the top, and Lewis was able to get back on defense. Attack left over the net. Setting left side cleanly. This time, Snooey wasn't able to get any fingertips on there. The crowd wants a touch. Will we get a challenge? No.
Tough play there for the Cardinal. That ball that just sat at the very top of the tape, giving everyone a heart attack before it came back over. But really for both teams, a lot of great defense that we're seeing on both sides. Tough miss there for Snooey as he goes up to attack, looking for that touch from that swing high off the hands.
Baggs Jr. serving. Cardinal going to the right side once more. Moses Wagner continues to answer when you need the point. 9-all.
That's the swing from Wagner that I'm used to seeing, especially from last season. Going and attacking and hitting that line seam is often his bread and butter.
Wagner, as we were talking about before, one of the taller players in that front line for the Cardinal at 6'6", the opposite out of San Jose, California. And going all the way into the stands, a terrific job by the libero and Paula to keep that one in play.
A great play from him as he lands on one of the fans there, but anything to keep that ball alive.
It's a contact sport for fans, and especially on the floor. And another answer by Moses Wagner saying, hey, I'm going to change that angle. You're not going to get another opportunity.
Great swing there, right in between the block. And exciting for the fans. We get a point for the Cardinal, but they also got, as you said, some contact here in the match.
You know, the winter, everybody talks about how the courtside seats are kind of dangerous in basketball, as you can go in there and have a player go and try to save a ball, but in volleyball, even more so. Diving into the table this time around. Another big swing by Wagner. The block unable to get there in time. A full out flight effort for Kai Schmidt. Wasn't able to keep it in play. 10-all.
What makes this matchup so interesting is how even both of these teams are. Obviously, we talked about the differences between them as far as height, right? But even still, we're seeing this in the energy, in the scrappiness, in the defense on both sides. They are battling back and forth, but also so equal in so many ways.
One thing I do love about Burnham Pavilion, Ohus went back there to serve, got a little heckling from the crowd. You got to get in the mind of the guy sometimes. Opportunity to work in system. They'll go right side. Back over to Snooey.
Huge swing there from Snooey. You can see Lewis trying to decide how they want to defend him when he's hitting on the right side on the floor. And that'll make his fourth kill for the match so far.
Teo Snooey forces an overpass on the serve. And just out of system, Snooey has to push it over. Off the top of the block, off the back of a flyer. And this one sent in the back line, tracked down by Schmidt. Bump set.
A lot of miscommunication there.
Absolutely. A little panic early on. And the opportunity from the left side came down to the floor for Todorov. It looks like Todorov is a little shaken up at the end of the play momentarily. Looks like he gets up no problem.
Tough miscommunication on the side of the Cardinal there, especially from that out-of-system ball, that ball that was just set really to the back line, and Kai Schmidt having to run and try to track that down. Really, unfortunately for them, threw off the whole play for everyone there.
And as we push to about the midway point here in the second, fatigue starting to become an issue. Obviously, you've practiced, you've done your conditioning all throughout, but this is the point where the lactic acid starts to build up. And this is the point where communication is key. Ohus sent away from the block. Trying the left side, Haber. Right side, Wagner!
I like that.
Point card.
I like that dig from Snooey there. Really tracking, seeing the ball, Getting that into the middle of the court for Briette to be able to get that ball back to Wagner. So he goes up and attacks that down the line.
Middle blocker, Gray Mendelbaum into the back line. Can't quite get it over the net. 12 apiece. Man, I don't know if I can have any fingernails by the end of this one. It is so close.
Right now, trading points back and forth.
I feel like it's been like that all night long.
Every single play truly has mattered here tonight for both teams in this matchup.
The biggest run we've seen tonight, I believe, was a 4-0 run by the Flyers that Stanford ended up going on a 3-0 run of their own. But since then, 2 points here, 1 point trailing off back-to-back. Send over to the net. And the awkward hand sent that ball wide right for Nate Clinton.
It's a tough one there for Clinton. He's going up. That ball coming over. I think he wanted to just keep it out of the middle since everyone was already stacked there waiting for him to hit that ball. So he tries to hit it at an angle, but unfortunately unsuccessful.
The angle on his hand, it just felt a little off.
Maybe a little bit of a miss hit there.
Frederick Cougarbeer. Back over to the right side, and Moses Wagner has been Mr. Reliable here in the second set.
For Lewis, they're leaving the Cardinal a lot of space there on the block. When they're hitting on the right side, they're able to hit seams. So far, we've seen Snooey and Wagner both finding space in that seam cross court.
Yeah, Nia, that's a great observation. I feel like a lot of the triple blocks we've been seeing for Lewis has been on that right side, or on their right side of the net, and then they're just giving opportunities for the right side attackers there for the Cardinal, and a big swing right from the middle for Sean Baggs Jr.
A huge swing there for the middle blocker, trying to get some momentum back on his side with his team. We saw them lose it just a little bit there in those last couple of plays, the Cardinal taking advantage. 6'8" middle blocker. And it's so funny from the angle that we're at seeing, don't actually realize how tall they are.
100% the service ace there for Lewis. Able to get the 15 points. So after we talked about back-to-back points, it's Lewis that comes on a little run of their own, a 3-0 run, making it 15-13 as we take our timeout. Here it's a 2-0 run as we're all tied up at 13 apiece. It was a service ace by the man in the back line, and Diego Estrada. Estrada got that final point to take the first set from the Cardinal. And the Flyers have come out, and they found a little consistency here. They're in their second match, where the Cardinal out in their first match of the season. And just two sides of the coin. You get some nice service aces, and then you got to pay with the service error every once in a while.
Well, for Lewis, that is their 9th service error so far on the match. So that is a huge advantage that they are giving to the Cardinal so far.
Nate Clinton, 19 aces to 51 service errors a season ago. Able to keep this one in play. Miscommunication from the Cardinal block allows a middle attack from Baggs Jr. And Baggs Jr. is trying to get a little bit of offense going in his own regard.
And so far, really tough for the Cardinal. They really haven't had an answer for the middle blockers and the attack from Lewis in that space. So really finding the floor each time they're set there. And it's always tough. You're running a middle, it's so fast. But we've noticed even from them, they're not even really taking big swings. It's mostly been push tips.
Haber with the big swing from the back line. Setting up the left side. Stewie gets the point.
Big swing there from the senior outside hitter. 6'8" on their own side here for the Cardinal.
Honestly, every swing that we've been seeing from Snooey has just been a clobbering. You can almost feel the vibration off that ball up here. Luke Morrison getting an opportunity. Last time he was out on the floor, was able to get over the net. This time, a service error as the freshman gets a little huddle before he has to check back out.
So that point back to Lewis now. As we see Tyler Walanga coming in to serve.
Walanga, a pretty great server in his own regard, and a very accurate one. 13 aces to 16 errors only a season ago. You're looking for a little consistency. Let's see if Walanga can give it to you. Keeps this one in play. Back set all the way across. Wagner with an attack. They'll set up the back row attack this time for the Flyers. That was Haber. Snooey on the tip this time, and the triple block a little too strong for the finesse there. 18-15, Flyers.
Saw what he was going for, unfortunately, just trying to get a little bit of a short roll shot from that last swing, but doesn't quite make it over. And again, as we talked about size, you've got 6'8" and 6'7" in front of you. It's really hard to try to go over them on a play like that. He needed to be just a little bit closer to them on the net.
Stanford will take the timeout here as it's 18-15. Lewis building a little bit of advantage here as they're up by 3. And as we've seen them battle back-to-back, what has it really been for Lewis that's allowed them the opportunity to build this little bit of a lead here in the second?
Well, we've seen some errors and some miscommunication on the side of the Cardinals. So some of those moments, and as we said, it's been really tough back and forth. I mean, even for Lewis, a lot of missed serves that we've seen the Cardinal try to take advantage of. But so far, the difference has been some of those moments of miscommunication. And I think, too, for the Cardinal, a couple more hitting errors than they would like in some moments here in the match. But for Lewis, really just staying consistent and chugging along here for the Cardinal, really trying to figure out how they're going to come back in this. Start with the serve receive. Let's try to get you guys back into system. Try to get back to running the tempo that you know is successful against a team like Lewis. And really, as we said earlier, they did a really good job playing defense in that first set, but we're wavering a little bit here in the second.
I think you hit the nail on the head in that situation where it feels like the Cardinal were controlling the pace and the tempo in the first set, and now it seems to be the Flyers that are going out there and really just controlling the pace of how this match has gone. It's felt like the Flyers really have only given up points in the last about 10 points or so on errors rather than an actual great play.
And a little bit of a difference. We saw toward the middle of the first set that both teams were evenly matched as far as their hitting errors, but even still, Lewis had the higher hitting percentage, and now we're seeing that difference. They only have one hitting error as a team for Lewis, hitting 364, 261 for the Cardinal with 5 hitting errors already in this set.
And that's how you get your tempo right back at it. Mendel bomb on almost a minus tempo attack.
And a big swing there from the middle blocker. As I was talking about hitting percentages, Mandelbaum hitting 600 so far in this matchup. So someone who's really trying to push here for the Cardinal.
You know, when you need a consistent hit, what do? You go to your middle blocker. That's tried and true at every level of volleyball. Briette got us started here. And a quick answer from the attack of Frederick Cougar Beer. So they said, hey, the Cardinal can go with our middle. Let's set our middle as well.
And Kruger Beer at 6'9", going up and just pushing that ball right in between the block there. So not quite closed on him at the net.
Ozano Hoos. Another error from that back line. I think the fans are starting to affect this one. Every time Ahus is back there, he's getting a little heckling in his ear, and it seems like it's getting to him a touch.
Yeah, that's the thing, as you talked about earlier. You want courtside seats at volleyball. Sometimes courtside can be scary, right, if the ball is coming at you. But also for the servers, you're that close to the fans to be able to try to get in your head while you're going to serve the ball.
Off the tip, goes into the floor. Call out a point for Todorov.
I think that's the difference. That play that we just saw in this matchup. We saw the Cardinal in the first set. They were so scrappy. They were picking up everything. We saw them slow down Ohus on his swings by being in the right spots, playing defense. But now, one thing that Lewis has really been taking advantage of with the Cardinal is how they're playing at the net. The little things. It's been the little touches and the little balls coming off of the hands on the block that have really affected this team.
Cardinal trying to go back to the bag once again with the quick middle attack, but the read was done to perfection as Frederick Cougar Beer was there to send it away. And it forces another timeout from the Cardinal. They'll use both their timeouts as it's 21-7. Back and forth early on, but Lewis has come out and they found some consistency by really gunking up this match.
We've seen that within both teams. I talked about this earlier, but it really has been the junk at the net is what I call it. It's been tips, the ball coming off of the hands on the block. That really has been the difference maker. And I was even going to bring up service errors right before that one, but for Lewis, they've actually had so many more service errors than the Cardinal, and you would think that that would, heavily affect the gameplay so far. And at some moments it has as far as turning the momentum. But even still, they have 11 service errors, but still have the advantage over the Cardinal, especially after taking that first set. It really has come down to the playing at the net, not letting those tips and balls drop there.
Carson Caniso comes in, a little changeup for the Cardinal lineup in the situation. Oh, and that one looked like it might have gone out of play, but reaching out was Caniso on that read, and unfortunately for the Cardinal, it is 22-18.
Saw that swing there from Haber on Lewis, finding space with that cross-court shot deep to the corner. He's been switching it up just a little bit. I talked about how he was tipping a lot, playing into the hands a lot in the first set and in the beginning of this set, but now starting to take bigger swings here as we get toward the end of the second.
Switzer now into the back line to serve. Showed up in 24 matches last season, has come in as a very consistent rotational service piece for the Flyers. Opportunity to attack. This one pushed into the block and left right over the net. And it's really just that. The Flyers are winning at the net right now.
They are. That's a big swing there. 6'9", Hoying taking a huge swing.
Consistency on the serve, and then coming out and getting those points at the net. Switzer did not play in that last matchup against Menlo. This is his first action of the season, and the block continues to stay strong here as Lewis able to get the 24th point. It is 24-18, and the Flyers are looking to come into Stanford and upset the Cardinal.
You have 6'8" and 6'9" in front of you there on the block. I mean, that is not an easy feat to try to get around, and Lewis showing why they are so solid on their block in that last play.
Strong serve and a great read in that situation as it is set point. It looks like Lewis might want the review here. As of right now, it stands Stanford point, and just a really tough situation and a hard decision to let that ball go past you.
They are looking for the challenge here. They're asking their coach if they can challenge that last play. So some deliberation here with the ref.
And Coach Dan Friend has a conversation with the official, and they are not going to challenge this one. Really vehemently asking for this challenge, going right up to the up ref. And just chuckling it off. You love to see that. 24-19, it's set point for the Flyers. The Cardinal had the advantage as it was 24-22. The Flyers were able to come back and win the first set by a score of 30-28, and the Cardinal have a big hole to dig out of in this situation. Moses Wagner gets us started. Ohus with a big attack. This one set over the net, and a great job with the quick hands there by Carrera, and an answer from the Cardinal. Keeping this one alive, and there is no quit in the Card.
A big play there for the Cardinal, trying to stay alive here.
And in this point, Moses Wagner, 30 aces to 77 service errors a year ago. You just want to keep this one in play and give yourself an opportunity. The worst thing that can happen is getting too aggressive on your serve, setting into the net, and not even giving you an opportunity. 24-20, Cardinal trailing here as they serve. Moses Wagner sets this one up, and a service ace. Hey, what do I know?
The Cardinal pushing momentum here. A really important point that they needed to stay alive in this and prevent Lewis from taking the second set.
And an interesting thing there, in the target, it was over to Nico Paula, who was the leader in digs in the NCAA a season ago with 287. But with this, let's take a quick timeout as it is still set point. 24-24 Flyers, 21 Cardinal. After the service ace from Moses Wagner, sets it up. An aggressive serve, unable to get over the net. Service error by Wagner after that ace. And it is a 2-0 lead going into the third set for the Flyers out of Lewis University. Cardinal ranked number 9 in the AVCA polls, but coming off a hot start in a 3-0 victory against Menlo College. It's the Flyers carrying on that momentum as we take the break here on Big Ten Plus. Behind the 8 ball here at home to start are the Cardinal. They had a very strong first set that allowed it to push all the way to 30-28, where they ended up dropping it late. And then Lewis University, just using their momentum that they built over that last victory against Menlo College, got the victory there in the second. The Cardinal are down 2-0 here at home in Burnham to start. And really, what's got to happen is the Cardinal have got to come out and take the momentum and start controlling the pace again. That's been the main difference we've seen between the first set and the second. The first set, it was all Cardinal controlling it with their pace, with the way that they're playing defense, and then Lewis just gunking everything up, controlling that net, and getting that victory in the second once more. And for the Cardinal, a service error to start will not help them. 1-0 Lewis to get us going here in the third.
And as we talk about those differences too, we look at the differences of the block. In that first set where the Cardinal were so close to actually taking set one, they had a lot of great blocks. They were in really good positions. I talked about the back row defense and how they were able to really slow down their strongest pins. And we saw that flip in the second set. They started being able to really exploit the defense, especially on the tips. And a lot of those short plays, I call them kind of the junk at the net. We saw that was where Cardinal lost a lot of that momentum. And so here, starting this off, we know what Lewis is going to do. We know that they can hit. They can also find space on the net for short tips and small plays there. So the Cardinal having to figure out a way to adjust and respond on the defense.
The freshman out of Sweden, Eric Ask, gets the serve here. A few different substitutions for the Cardinal. And the second point now for Lewis. We've seen a few changes on the floor here. You're seeing people like Eric Ask coming in, getting his very first playing time. You see a change-up in the libero position and Evan Porter coming in. Porter was the main libero last season, having 190 digs to lead the team. So a few change-ups here as Stanford showing their depth off here in the third. Big attack and almost a sonic boom. And a better answer for the card, Luke McFall.
I talked about this in the beginning of this matchup, and Coach Costi told us that there was going to be movement on the floor. We're going to see some changes, and we're seeing that here. Luke McFall is someone that I saw come in quite often last season. We started this match with Graham Mandelbaum and Kamana Carrera in the middle, but throughout last season, especially toward the middle, we got to see Luke McFall and even Reed Wainwright come in and have some playing time. So we're seeing that here now in this matchup, that complete switch over between the middle blockers. Really wanting to give this team a different look.
Yeah, and really changed us all about. Eric Ask coming in, Ryan Gant checking in as well. A lot of different players coming into the third set and seeing if this unit can maybe show some fresher legs here in the third. Luke McFall, 2 aces a season ago. This one a let serve over the net. O'Hoose coming and answering once more right into the lap of Ryan Gant. Wasn't able to answer.
That's something where they're really going to have to step up in that back row defense, knowing that O'Hoose is going to be looking for that cross-court space. That's where he's been trying to go the whole match, really, and they did a really good job in the last 2 sets of trying to stop him from being able to go off and hit that seam.
Let's serve over the net, turns into a service ace. Trying to corral it was Reed Wainwright, but it is 4-2 Flyers.
I talked about some of these unforced errors and some of the miscommunication that really changed the momentum of the second set. We're seeing that already here now to start off the third.
Yeah, it's whether it's miscommunication due to fatigue or maybe just some new changes in faces. Wainwright had the attack for the card. On the other side, a full-out effort for Porter, able to keep this one in play. Free ball, sets a back row attack off the arm of the libero, and it's a kill for Daniel Haber.
A big swing there for Haber. Coming in, really the swing that he's been looking for this whole match. He knows how to score and take advantage of the block in front of them and play off of the hands, but seeing him get more and more comfortable with taking bigger swings here in this matchup.
Haber's 9th kill on the overpass, paid off by Frederick Krugerbeer.
And again, I talked about the advantage that Lewis has had with those small plays and having the overpasses, getting a chance to score points there. It's something that the Cardinal will have to figure out and adjust how to slow this team down if they want to stay in this third set.
Very early first timeout taken by John Costi. This one will be the media timeout as it is 6-4 Lewis with the score here as Stanford trails. And everything's really changed going into that second set. It felt like the momentum fully swung the direction of Lewis. And more than anything, the defense that looked so spectacular to start has kind of fallen off. It seems like Lewis is just hitting on an open net at times as the block hasn't made him able to get there for the Cardinal.
There's been some miscommunication on the defense that we didn't see in the first set. The first set, they were so strong and really did a great job of defending this team. And we knew that they would make some adjustments going in, but as you mentioned, just some moments of a lot of unforced errors, a little bit of some sloppy plays, and really keeping the ball in good spaces and really putting the ball in good spaces for your teammates to come in and get you out of system sets as well. I think that was another big difference maker from the second set. We saw a lot of out-of-system sets that really they were not able to actually take swings on.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head in that situation. And then little unforced errors like that. You saw a wide attack from Wagner a moment ago, and now just a miscommunication, trying to set your man up on there on the left side pin and just unable to get there.
And a part of that comes with having some of your younger players on the floor and making some of those changes. So having to adjust and really get comfortable on the floor here so early on in the third set.
6-0 run as the Flyers flying through this third set early on. And an answer for the Cardinal. Alex Rotman came up big late in that first set, and now he has another opportunity as he stops that streak.
Rotman coming in and really playing with confidence and really trying to inspire the rest of the team on the floor to have that same confidence. We're seeing really almost all new faces on the floor except for Wagner, who's still in from the last set.
Moses Wagner has been a consistent piece for the Cardinal. And unfortunately, I'll jinx it. Service error there by Wagner, and it is 9-3 as the point goes right back over to the Flyers.
That was one thing the Cardinal were doing very well throughout this match so far, was keeping their service errors low. Starting to climb just a little bit here in the third with 6 service errors, but doesn't match Lewis with 13 service errors on their side.
Lozano Hoos. This one a returnable ball and an attack down the middle. It worked last time, and now it's Wainwright going out there and getting the attack. I think it's just setting up clean offenses and really just trusting yourself to get back in system. So many times tonight we've seen Stanford get out of system and just not really be able to recover from it. Rotman, high serve, return from the back row. O'Hoos with the big swing and a great dig there by Wagner. Trying the other side of the net. That was an attack by Fixmere. This time the tip, and the libero was not able to get there in time. Evan Porter.
Another miscommunication there on the side of the Cardinal. That's just a tough one. Really a smart play, though, from Lewis to put that ball from the outside, coming from the outside to the middle of the court, making them have to second-guess who's going for it. On that one, usually I would see Evan Porter come in as the libero, as you said. He takes control of that and goes and gets that ball. But for Lewis, really scrappy plays. I mean, even that recover off of the block there, that's been the difference maker here between these two teams, is the balls that they've been able to pick up versus the balls that the Cardinal have let drop.
Dejan Todorov serving. The attack goes wide. Couldn't collect any fingers on the way out for the freshman in Eric Ask.
So some adjustments here. New setters, new outsides, different middle blockers. Really trying to get comfortable on the floor. And I know I've said this quite a few times throughout this matchup, but it's not easy when you have 6'9" in front of you.
Absolutely. The size has been on display, and that's why the dominance at the net has really shown for the Flyers. An attack from the left side once more goes to Ask, and he's able to get the kill. First collegiate kill for Eric Ask.
And a big one at that. You see the communication there between them, and he's talking about, hey, that ball, getting him that ball a little bit faster was all the difference maker there in that last swing. Really able to get on top of it before the block was able to close.
Reed Wainwright out of the back line. It's 5 serving 11, and it's going to be 12 serving 5 on the other side, as that one is another service error. It's interesting to see a lot of the international talent taking both sides of the floor. And as you come out, like, we see a few professional players on Lewis's side in the European circuit, and now you're seeing a freshman that's coming out of Sweden. And just how is the difference in the game overseas on the men's side compared to the American side?
Well, one of the biggest differences, and I've talked about this even in women's volleyball, when you have players that come over from different countries, a lot of them have had a lot of time on these professional teams where they get to be around top professional players that are much older than them. So they're learning so much, especially for the guys here. They're learning from guys who've been in the game for such a long time and really learning a higher level of volleyball from a younger age because of that.
Yeah, and that's some of the biggest difference. We've got some quotes coming out of Coach Costi with the signing, and a lot of it was just the pose and the productivity that he's expecting out of these young freshmen coming in early. And a sophomore, another young player in Ryan Gant, getting an opportunity to serve now. On the left side, wasn't able to collect any fingers on the way out. Daniel Haber tried to work finesse, and this time it works against him as the Cardinal get the point back 7-12.
Haber has been almost all finesse so far throughout this match. We saw him actually take some pretty big rips at the net in the last few points, but that one, trying to take advantage, push that tip down the line, doesn't quite get it, lands out. So that ball, and that point, back to Stanford.
Again, another opportunity from the line. Going back to O'Hoos. O'Hoos goes down the line this time, and it goes wide. similar to what we saw when Ohu started to struggle in the first. This time he didn't have an opportunity to go cross court, and he hit it wide right.
So something for the Cardinal, taking advantage of these last two errors from Lewis to gain some momentum and push back on this team here.
I'll tell you one thing, there's no quit in this Cardinal team. You still see a ton of focus in the eyes, even though a lot of these young players are in. And Ryan Gant, unfortunately, unable to keep this one in play. Service error.
I talked about the difference in momentum when I spoke about Lewis, and there are many missed serves that they've had throughout this match, but the difference is that they'll miss a serve, and they will still come back and find a way to score after that, and find a way to side out. And even when they're getting the ball back, a lot of overpasses that they've been able to terminate. But for the Cardinal, the missed serves have been very difficult for them to get back into their momentum the way that they have.
Diego Estrada trading service errors, as it'll be 9 serving 13 coming to the service line. Eric Ask once more. Yeah, that's been the biggest difference in the productivity, really. We saw them trading points early on, going until about the 15th point of that second set, and then from that point it was Lewis just taking over, being able to overcome some of that adversity. And the Stab just doing a great job keeping that one in play was Haber. The back row attack, and the violation goes against the Flyers.
So
pardon me, it was on the Cardinal rather, as it's 14-9.
Unfortunate error there from Ask as he tries to go for his first back row attack here on the floor for the Cardinal, but stepped on the line there trying to go for it.
And once Ask is able to get a little more comfortable and get more playing time, he's going to add a lot to that size. At 6'9", one of the taller players that'll be on that front line, especially on the outside position for the Card.
So that point back to the Cardinal. Carson Kneisel coming in to serve.
Kneisel had a few opportunities early on in the set. Alex Rotman coming in the first row alongside the rotation as well. Serving 14. Cardinal trying to dig back in this third set. Great block alongside that right side. Free ball. Setting middle. Off the hands. Reed Wainwright.
We're seeing that connection being built up between Gant and Wainwright in the middle. Trusting each other a lot more.
Wainwright got a lot of play a season ago in 65 sets played. Hit 358 on 162 swings. And the middles are starting to really get fed here in the third set for the Card.
Those tips to the middle, as I've been talking about from this team with Lewis, they have been taking advantage of that all evening here. Finding space each time. It's been very hard for the Cardinal to defend when they have been changing the momentum on the swings at the net.
Todorov gets his 10th kill of the evening, and so he'll join Ohuz, who's the only other player on Lewis with 10. Moses Wagner with 11 for the Cardinal. And really, it's been a diverse attack on both sides of the net. It's just a matter of getting that consistent effort out of your squad. That's what both sides are really looking for. Rotman, an opportunity to take a big attack. Gets it over the top of the triple block. Ohus dug up, but goes wide right into the stands. Terrific job getting under it for Eric Ask, but unfortunately the freshman wasn't able to keep that one in play.
You talked about this earlier on the block. You were noticing how late they were at some of these moments, and that was an example of that play right there. Just a little late on the block to get out to Ohus, someone that they've been defending very well. But if you give him space to swing, he's going to take advantage of it, and we saw that in that last play.
And especially because you've seen his tendency up to this point, wanting to really go cross court. You got to take that away from him and force him down the line when he gets an opportunity. Back set over to Ohus. The joust at the net. This one stays up in play. Terrific job on defense there for Rotman.
Little miscommunication on the side of Lewis there.
Back row attack, and Eric Ask gets the answer.
A great swing there, and look at that trust that you see between Gant and Ask. He missed that first one, unfortunately, just stepping on the line the last time he was set in the back row, but now getting that ball back, and you see it, he's on it, and he went at that with confidence, took a big swing straight down the middle to score a point.
Moses Wagner to the back line. He got a little bit of a run going to end the second set, gave the Cardinal an opportunity before service error. This one staying up in play. Todorov with an attack from the left side. Opportunity here for Rotman, and Rotman sent away. This time 2 blockers went up, and it was Ohus who had the majority of that contact to send it away.
That's a tough block there. I said this earlier, but 6'8" and 6'9" in front of you, and Rotman really wanted that play. You see him go at it, but that's one of those you really want to try to use the hands when you have two guys that are completely clamped. Not only clamped, but that block was closed, and they're all the way over the net, so not a lot of space to make something happen there.
Yeah, the athleticism shown on display in the warm-ups, just players jumping up and putting both arms over the net. You can see that high flying on both sides. Ohus, one of the more athletic players on that side of the net. And another athletic play shown up by Alex Rotman, as he is really starting to find his groove and has become a good, consistent answer for the card.
Definitely is, and I liked his answer on that last play with that swing. He goes up aggressive, but sees that he has a little bit of a difference in height there on the block and takes advantage in the seam straight down in the middle of the court.
Rotman standing at 6'6", the redshirt junior out of Santa Barbara, California. He'll go back to serve. Right into that back line as Haber returns it. Off the chest. This one will turn into a free ball. Setting back row attack off the hands. A diving attack by Rotman, but that ricochet too strong. Flyers fly ahead 18-13.
That's a great swing from Haber out of the back row there to get on that ball. You see them staying in tempo, and really, I talked a little bit about this earlier with Lewis and, with Ohus giving him a little bit of a higher ball, but they've been pushing tempo a lot more with Haber here. He's getting on that ball fast.
Yeah, and a few different positions on the floor as well, whether it's alongside that pin or from the back row. He's got 10 kills. Him, Todorov, and Ohus getting into that double-digit category in that situation. Todorov at that back line, sets it in the net. So the points are climbing up. The Cardinal are keeping the same 4-point buffer. It just takes one run. Let's see if the Cardinal can get some consistency here as Luke Morrison comes to the back line to serve once more. A lot of the freshmen checking in here in the third set. Let's see if these fresh legs can come over the top and get them over this little bit of a hiccup.
Middle blocker Luke McFall also back in for the Cardinal.
That attack sent into the block. Sending it to the right side. Ohus just with an awkward angle on that free ball. Left side! Caught some hands on the way out. Eric Ask. He's giving you everything you ask for at this point.
Rotman really pushing that out-of-system set pretty tight to the net there, especially with the triple block in front of you, but Ask going up and really taking advantage of that, using the top of the hands to score a point.
No fear in these freshmen and underclassmen. They're coming out, and they are playing with their hair on fire. Good job on the dig after the attack from Haber. Going back over to Ash this time. Sent away. You don't want to attack into that triple block too many times. And sometimes for a freshman, you got to learn the hard way.
And some of that is just developing court vision. Seeing that you have three blockers in front of you, but not only that, they were stable. They're in one place. That block was not moving. They read you. They went all the way out, knowing that that was where the ball was going to go. And for a lot of us, I can say the same thing for myself when I was playing at that time, thinking that I can just go up and I can power through this. But sometimes you got to take a step back, and it can be tough. That set, a little bit fast, a little bit tight to the net, not really having anywhere to go, but you want to try to go after it. And so we saw that in that play, but it's something that we've seen them learn to adjust as the match goes on.
2-0 lead here in the third set from the Midwest. They get a victory out in Atherton with that 3-0 victory against Menlo. And they're trying to upset the number 9 ranked Cardinal. Cardinal have come out and they put a lot of young players in, and they've really shown in the situation. You're going to go up against the ones for Lewis, and you're holding your water at this point despite the fact that you're trailing 19-15.
The Cardinal with so many returning players, but still some new faces that we're seeing on the floor here, as you talked about the underclassmen. And from the upperclassmen, a big swing there from Wagner. But talking about the underclassmen that have really come in and stepped up in this third set, we saw in the first two sets that battling back and forth with Lewis, and this one seeing some new faces, wanting to get some of the younger guys in to really see how they're going to be, see how they're going to adjust into getting some playing time. And we're seeing that confidence be built actually right now in real time. Yeah,
and of course you want to go undefeated. That's the goal every year. But at the same time, it's learning how to develop and really just building that depth that we've seen on display up to this point throughout the season. Because at any given time, whether it's injury, whether it's fatigue, whatever it is, you're going to need some of those young players to step up despite the fact that you have all this talent in your upperclassmen. But this is just the building blocks that you can get them over the top, so when you do get into the MPSF tournament or you do build further down the line against some league opponents, gives you the opportunity to come out and really just trust everybody.
You always want to be prepared. You never know what can happen in a season, and I saw some of those changes toward the end of last season with the Cardinal. And these are guys who now, for quite a few of them, have been playing together for a really long time, so really learning to adjust on the fly there. Oh, a tough play here at the net.
Yeah. And that is something that Lewis has been really dominating in. Cameron Hoying, the redshirt sophomore, comes in. He'll talk to the up ref about the situation, but it did look like his hand contacted that net.
So they're trying to fight for that right now. I think they're also calling that they think that Stanford was in the net as well, but like you said, I think that was Lewis first on the contact.
Yeah, it was a bang-bang play, but Lewis definitely was in that situation first. Eric Ask has had a strong third set up to this point. He'll go to the back line. You're going to need some consistency on the service here as the Cardinal trail by 3, 17 serving 20, down 2-0 here in your home opener.
Lewis still debating that last call, trying to ask the up ref why they were called on that and not Stanford, but looks like this point will remain with the Cardinal.
And the body language for the Cardinal, they're doing great. You would think you would feel a little tense in this situation, but you see the guys still loose and they're fully ready to fight throughout the very end. It ain't over till it's over, and Stanford trailing by 3, looking to get something set up cleanly. Porter with the dig, setting up right side, it goes over to Wagner. One-handed set, sent over the net by the Flyers. Back row attack, this time is Ask. Way over the net and return, great defense by the Flyers. Rotman, left side for O'Hoos. And the Flyers come away with the point. We've seen a few long rallies throughout the entirety of this matchup. The first two seemed like it went the way of Stanford, but this time around, the Flyers going ahead, finally able to capitalize off the block.
And just talk about that back row defense from both teams, but really in that last play, you're seeing Nico Paula fly across the floor to pick that ball off, coming up off of the tape there. And seeing that grit from this team.
You can see why he led the NCAA in digs a season ago. Let serve over the net, return, going to the middle attack. Luke McFall with a big point for the Card. 18 serving 21. Cardinal need to get a run, and time is starting to run out.
As you said earlier, you need a momentum shift, go to your middles, and that's what we're seeing here with Luke McFall getting a point in that last play.
McFall, a local product out of Pleasanton, only about 35 minutes away from here in Stanford. A little bit of a lower starting point on that jump serve, and it goes long.
So the Cardinals still trying to battle back here as it's 22-18. Lewis pushing to try to close this one out.
Baggs Jr. to the back line.
Baggs Jr. with no errors so far on the match.
Yeah, he's been terrific from every point in which he's attacking. This one just sent over the net, and an error on the play from Moses Wagner makes it 23 serving 18. Very little breathing room left for the Card here.
You can see with the Cardinal trying to still find some of that fire and momentum in them. I know it's hard when you get to this point of the third set and really trying to mentally stay in this matchup.
Going right back over to Wagner. And unfortunately, an error on the attack. It is set and match point here for the Flyers. And the few frequent Flyers that are traveling alongside with them getting up on their feet, and they're loving what they're seeing. Trying to close things out, Sean Baggs Jr. A little bit of a lollipop serve over the net. An opportunity to attack from Rotman, and he's able to get the point. 19-24 to the back line. Moses Wagner with no room for error.
Rotman, that makes his 6th kill on the match. Saw him come in, especially in this set, making a big difference for the Cardinal, getting some playing time on the floor to start the season.
O'Hoos, the pancake dig right there by Porter, able to keep this one in play. Getting right back to the block. O'Hoos, and it looks like it's called against Frederick Cougar beer as he was right up inside of the twine.
So that point. Back to Stanford, staying alive here with Lewis. Match point. So again, another debate with the up ref not wanting to accept that call. He says they were over the net on that play with the setter.
The last time these two teams met was in 2023, where Stanford got the 3-1 victory. But Lewis is riding a 3-match winning streak at Stanford, looking to try to make it 4 in a row here on the West Coast. Wagner, a really aggressive serve dug up there by Todorov. The attack by Rotman, and the Card fighting all the way to the end.
You can see the frustration growing on Lewis's side here, wanting to close this out, but the Cardinal forcing them to have to fight for this last point if they're going to stay in it, and they are trying to force and fight to get back in this matchup with them.
Lewis taking the timeout as we keep it here. Up to this point, they're hitting .359 on the evening compared to the .225 of the Cardinal. In this third set alone, .321 attacking percentage, 28 attacks to the Card, .259 on 27 swings. And this is where you need to be. Sometimes when your back is against the wall, your young players step up and they really just show why you've been brought into this program. You've got such an established staff with John Costi coming in his 20th season, trusting his young players early on. And if these freshmen can come back and somehow find a way to steal this third set, it's going to give them immense confidence going forward.
Immense confidence, but also confidence in Coach Costi that he knows how to make changes when he sees they need to be made, and also trusting his players and the young players on the floor to come in and try to make a difference. And that's something we talked about with him before the start of this match, wanting to get those guys in, wanting them to know and feel like they can go on the floor and make a difference and make something happen. You don't know what the season's going to look like, and some of them might have to step up, and that's one thing he said right before they started.
And even though you still have a big wall in front of you, I think you've already established that by playing some of these young players, giving them opportunities, really just showing that, hey, you can compete at this level. Obviously, they know, in their head, they know that they can compete. They're coming out here for a reason. But knowing and actually experiencing are two very different things.
Definitely, and they're fighting for these last few points, and you can see the frustration growing within the team on Lewis on their side, wanting to end this. The Cardinal not letting them. This is where you try to take advantage. You try to poke the bear a little bit more. Start to see if you can make them make mistakes on their side.
Still setting match point as Wagner gets the serve. Great dig by Porter, keeping it in play. Out of system, turns into a free ball. Right side, O'Hoos trying to go cross court, and the Cardinal block was there. Sent it in the back line. Out of system on the slide attack, kept in play. It's Rotman.
Looking for the touch there.
Got
at
the
point.
touch.
They might challenge that when they're looking for that, but he said that he did touch it. So we're seeing that from Kruger Beer. He is letting the team know. The team freaking out, thinking that ball was out, but Rotman getting a touch. And as you just talked about, trusting your team, trusting your young players to push here. 22-24 in this third set. Lewis thinking that they had this as an easy finish, and the Cardinal climbing back here in the last few points.
And in the first set, it was Lewis in a very similar situation where the Cardinal was sitting at 24-22 with the advantage, and Lewis came back. Let's see if the Cardinal can flip the scripts here. Going over the consistent piece, and Dejan Todorov able to get the kill and get the victory for Lewis. 30, 28, 25, 21, 25, 22. Lewis stops the streak of the Cardinal, and they get an upset victory against the number 9 team in the AVCA polls. A 2-0 start to the season as Lewis gets sweeps against Menlo College and Stanford University. And Stanford dropping an 0-1 on the season, but we saw a lot of life, a lot of young energy come through, and we see what this team is building after their very first match.
Even seeing from last season, I've been able to see what Coach Costi has been trying to build even from last year. And so that momentum still carrying into this matchup today, seeing a lot of these returners and these guys that are coming back, seeing some new faces on the floor and young players. I think for the Cardinal, this is going to be a really, really important learning lesson for them, but it's literally their very first match of the season. So this is something where they did a lot of great things here, some things that they know that they're going to want to improve on that they can take back and be ready for their next matchup.
The next matchup for the Cardinal will go against Loyola Chicago in Phoenix, Arizona. So that one's a week away, so you got a whole week to come and learn about what's going on before going out to Phoenix, playing a neutral match against Loyola Chicago, another member of the MIVA. And on the other side, after getting this victory against Stanford, coming back home, the first opportunity, taking on Roosevelt University, are the Lewis Flyers. But with that, we'll see you in a couple weeks. It's been a fun one on our hands, despite the fact that it was a sweep for the Flyers. So with that, a victory for the Flyers 3-0. Nia Crittenden, Max Agrest, and our whole entire production team, thank you for joining us here on